welcome to the 35th anniversary of the Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. Who's having a great time so far? I'm Leora Kulak from Food and Wine, and I'm so honored to introduce the Lexus Exotic Mediterranean Seminar, featuring Lexus Culinary Master Chef Daniel Boulud and Lexus Master Sommelier Carlton McCoy. Although they need no introduction, Chef Daniel Boulud is a chef, restaurateur, social media maven, cookbook author, and recipient of numerous awards, including James Beard Awards and the coveted Food and Wine Best New Chef Award. Carlton McCoy is one of the youngest ever master sommeliers and wine director at the Little Nell here in Aspen. He's also been named to Forbes 30 Under 30 list. So you've got an amazing dynamic duo here today. So let's hear it for these guys. Today, they're going to be preparing some incredible Mediterranean dishes and pairing them with wines from the region. And in case I haven't mentioned it, this is going to be streamed over Facebook Live. So don't say anything that you wouldn't want somebody hearing. Before I bring them out on stage and they start their incredible seminar, I just want to mention that you all have in front of you these cards from Lexus. So please fill them out so that you can receive your Paderno 2-blade spiralizer. And while you're on site here in Aspen, please visit the Lexus LC Drive Experience right here on Mountain Plaza. They're open every day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can test drive the first ever Lexus LC 500 through the Rocky Mountains. I don't know if you guys have seen this car, but so I know you are all eager to meet these guys and see what they have to do. I'm going to come on stage periodically and ask some questions from our Facebook audience, but without any further ado, please give a huge Food and Wine welcome to Daniel Boulud and Carlton McCoy.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. And I'm glad you're starting your day with us, Carlton and I. And there's Nicolas here. Nicolas is the chef in New York at DBGB restaurant. And well, we are taking you to the Mediterranean. You already have the weather, so that's not going to be difficult. You have the wine. We are in Provence, and we're going to start in Provence, and we'll go other places. And we are doing 3 dishes. So the first dishes is a dish I've done at Restaurant Daniel, and I have also loved to do with different type of meat, but it's something very Provençal we do in the region of Nice, Provence, and it's porchetta. And so porchetta, we think Italian, but you know, they're almost Italian there in that border. And I do a porchetta of rabbit. So here I have a very nice rabbit. It's
He's exhausted. He was chasing it all day yesterday. He got it.
It's from the mountain of Aspen.
Well fed.
Rabbit is a very healthy meat, actually. It's a very lean meat to begin with, and as long as you know, you have a good source of rabbit. I grew up on a farm, and we were raising, I don't know, 40 rabbits at the time, and they will reproduce themselves and sell them at the market. And we were very famous for how good our rabbit was because of the great food we were giving our rabbit. And you know, all the carrot tops and all the clover and all the things like that at different time of the years. And we will make all kind of preparation. So today it's kind of a cold terrine you're gonna have, and with that with the rabbit, it's gonna have also pancetta. So it's likely smoked pancetta or bacon in a way, and so porchetta, pancetta. I don't want to confuse you too much, but foie gras. There'll be a little bit of foie gras, and there'll be chorizo inside as well to just give it a little bit of spiciness. With the preparation. Of course, we're going to have the liver inside. We're going to have the heart and the kidneys, which going to all go into the mix of the preparation. And so what's important, when you can buy the rabbit saddle directly. So the saddle is basically from the legs to the cage. So here we cut that right through it, and here right through it. So here you get a saddle of rabbit. And you keep the skin of the, usually when you buy it, it comes like this already. So you keep the skin. So how many of you love rabbit? Everybody, huh? Yeah, almost. You'll see, once you taste that, you might fall in love. And, you know, once you go
Chef,
rabbit, you never go back.
We grew up on Bugs Bunny in this country.
Sorry?
I said, we grew up on Bugs Bunny in this country, so it's very difficult for us
So,
to...
what's important is that this, if you buy a whole saddle like this, either you can make it a large one or you can split in half. So we usually remove the meat. It's very simple. It's, the anatomy of it is very easy to follow. We remove the thing here on the top of the back, on the inside of the bone. And then after we remove also the meat around the center vertebra. So to show you, I will run the knife down. Voila. Bless you. So voila, so you have the whole loin. The whole loin is here, and the skin, which we're gonna wrap. And so I have, and then with the rest, you can definitely use the front part, boneless the front part, and we're gonna make the force meat. I have a little force meat here, which is made with pork. It has the rabbit meat inside. It has the liver, a little bit of garlic also, thyme. You have the recipe to follow. So I understand that if you maybe don't have access to rabbit because it might be a little difficult, you can always do, so let me do with this one now. Voilà. So you can always do with chicken. You can, the way I'm gonna open up the breast here, like this, you can do that with the chicken as well. And you use the legs meat to do the, the force meat like that. And so did we serve yet?
Yes, chef. The chefs have, the consumers have the rabbit in front of them, so you can feel free to try this. This is what the chef is cooking now. And chef, just a question from our Facebook Live audience. I love rabbit. Personally, I actually had one as a pet, so it's near and dear to my heart. But if you mentioned that you can make this with other proteins, if you were going to choose a second top choice to make this with other than rabbit, what would you choose?
I will use chicken, like I said. You can use pork. You can use also guinea hen. I will use rather a white meat. You could do that also with lamb, for that matter. It's quite good to eat also cold lamb when it's prepared in a way like that. And so here the saddle of rabbit get opened up nicely, seasoned, salt, pepper with that, and a good seasoning, and then the force meat. So the force meat, as I said, we have a little bit of wine garlic inside, a little bit of tomato, ground tomato, thyme, rosemary, sage, savory, and all the meat mixed together. And then with that, now the chorizo, what I did again, part of the chorizo is you cut a little sliver of chorizo long like this, or you put some slice of chorizo inside, and you put it right in the middle like this. And the fat will melt a little bit. So I have also the foie gras, which the foie gras is cut in pieces and is roasted on all sides, and I put that in the middle as well. And the asparagus has been barely blanched lightly, whole asparagus like this. So you can put asparagus, you can put beans, you can put peas. I put also a little bit of fava beans inside. So it's fairly simple. You can also keep it totally lean. The important thing is that if you are using, you can use beef fat if you don't want to use pork as well. And but you want a little bit of fat coming from some kind of meat with it. And if you don't want to choose chorizo, you can just put a good seasoning of a chorizo with the paprika and the smoky paprika and all that. So here I'm putting also a little bit of carrots in it. And so you basically push all that in and then roll it. And that's why you want the skin to it, so you can keep it. Voila. So this is become a big sausage like that. And to that, I'm going to put it in an aluminum foil with a little bit of olive oil. Like that. You put a little bit of branch of thyme as well inside. I don't think it's in the recipe, but you know, I'm here on stage, I do what I want.
Just riffing?
And then you roll this like this, very simple. So you can do that process for many different meat. Then you do like what we call a papillote, which is a little, how do you call that in English?
It's like a little roulade, essentially.
Roulade, voila. It's a roulade, nice and tight, and this is going to get cooked in the oven. So the oven, you want the oven to be at low temperature, but not too low. So it could be between 220, 210, 220. We said 210, but it could be a little bit higher. So first we're going to sear that. So searing that is basically, here I have, yeah, it's on. So you go, when you sear it, you just put it on the dry pan, and you just roll it a little bit on all sides to start to kick it with the heat a little bit. It's not about giving it color as much as start to really kick it a little bit on the outside to sort of firm up a little bit the outside of the meat. And then after it's going to get cooked quietly and gently in the oven for about, I would say, 30 minutes. Depends. I mean, depends on the size of the roll, depends on the temperature you have. And I mean, if you do a suckling pig porchetta, for example, which you may have had before, and you can put the vegetable and the force meat like that, I mean, it's a thing like this. You're going to have to cook it for an hour and a half. So this one, but rabbit, the thing is then, you could also do like this and poach it. In that case, you do the aluminum foil, and then after you put a plastic film around, you tied it up, and then you poach it as well. But I think poaching it is the temperature, you want a little bit more than 220 to cook it. So it could, I mean, it has to be at a simmering point, like that.
So the great thing about these as well is you could probably do them the day before. So if you're cooking these really elaborate dinner and you're going to tell all your friends that you're going to reenact this phenomenal recipe that you learned privately from Chef Daniel Boulud, and chances are I would not attempt doing this the same night as the dinner party, because chances are you don't have a Master Sommelier point wine for you as well. So I'd maybe do these like the day before, do the roulades, and then serve them afterwards.
Very much,
Yeah.
and absolutely. This is something we will always taste better, like any charcuterie or preparation. It always tastes better the next day, and even the day after even. 2 days later, it has rested. It has really absorbed the seasoning and the flavor together. So you all had the taste of the porchetta. So with the porchetta, so let's go, yeah. We put that in the oven. You're going to take one. With the porchetta was Orléans mustard cream. So just a light whipped cream. You do a light whipped cream and you add up mustard to it. And that's just as a condiment. Because I'm not using any pickles or anything like this with it. So as a condiment, it's good to have mustard. And then you can have also, we do a mustard vinaigrette with the Orléans mustard. So Orléans mustard, it's a very, it's almost like it's not a sweet mustard, but it has a delicate flavor, and is made with the wine vinegar from the wine of the Loire Valley. And then with that, we had the crudité. So we had the cream in the plate with that. And I had some radish, some carrots, You have a more contrasting plate. So after it's roast, you chill it, and you can tie it up a little bit more, and then you let it cool totally. And then you remove the aluminum foil. And the wine we served with that was a Provence wine, huh?
Yeah, so so as Chef mentioned, I mean, it's very accurate that we call this the exotic Mediterranean. Because you look at this area, it's this massive sprawl, and sort of as the capital, we have Marseille. And who's ever been to Marseille? Who's ever been back to Marseille?
Beautiful town.
So Marseille is a really odd city because it's not very like French. It's sort of like French, Italian, Spanish, and North African. It's a really crazy place. So after you cancel your hotel reservation because you thought you were going to stay for 3 nights, you stay for 1, you go east for about a half hour and you run to the town of Bandol. So Bandol is one of the greatest red wine appellations of all of France, focusing on the wines from the Mourvedre grape. Okay? But as of late, in the last 5 years, because us Americans started drinking rosé like it was drinking water, they started producing a ton more rosé to the point where people were starting to plant more grapes just for rosé production. So here we have is the Gros-Noret Bandol rosé. Everyone is very much addicted to Domaine Tempier rosé. And I've seen the prices go up 3-4 times since I've been a sommelier. But this is a great alternative if you can't get your hands on Tempier. They're right next to Domaine Tempier. The wines are absolutely spectacular. We'll talk a bit more soon potentially about rosé because I know everyone's very interested in it. I would hope so as much as the consumption. Yesterday at the Little Nell alone, we sold 25 cases of rosé. And that's just welcoming people to town. So you can imagine what the consumption today will be. But the beautiful thing is, chef's serving this rabbit cold. If this rabbit were served hot, we'd probably serve it with a richer white wine. But since it's served cold and those flavors are a little bit more muted, we can serve it with a fresh, vibrant rosé. And again, as you can see, I had a full glass when we started this seminar. There's something incredibly drinkable about rosé. We scientifically haven't proven it yet, but it may be more drinkable than water. All right? Chef.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlton. And so here I am plating the rabbit as I will serve you maybe in the restaurant. The plate is a little small. We usually work on bigger plate, and but the spirit is there. And so you can do any kind of greens with it. You can have a nice array of vegetables. So you want to play with a lot of vegetable with that. I think it's very important. So I have fava beans, I have radish, and baby turnips, Tokyo turnips, and radish. Some of them are cooked, some of them are raw. The carrots cook a little al dente, tender. The fava beans, the asparagus, and a little bit also of nasturtium flour, which has a mustardy finish to it. So both greens have a little mustardy finish to it. And then I put a little bit of olive oil on the rabbit saddle and finish it like this. And then I have the cream here in the corner. So usually we do it with a spoon. Voilà.
So if you can see this plate, one thing you'll notice is this doesn't really fit the profile of traditional French cuisine the way that Americans typically see it. We think of like really rich sort of brasserie, braises, and this much more opulent cuisine. Once you sort of pass the village of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, and we'll talk about that, it's almost like its own part of the country. France is very much localized. And in the south of France, the food, the ingredients are much more fresher, the flavors are much more vibrant, hence the reason why the white wines are much more fresh and much more vibrant. This is a perfect example of great spring cookery in Provence.
And it's finished with vinaigrette. Voilà. Rabbit porchetta. Now,
Carlton,
we have other things we're going to make you taste. You have other recipe. We're going to go. It's going to go pretty quick, the next one. It's about octopus. So octopus, another very healthy creature.
The Kraken.
Here we have a nice octopus from the Mediterranean again.
So that you can now never get out of your mind. So every time you order octopus in the restaurant, everyone in this room is going to see that.
The great part about octopus is that you can buy it already cooked, and somebody is going to do the job for you. So this octopus, if you buy it like this, and sometimes it comes frozen, but it's okay. It's maybe a better source to have a good frozen than a fresh. So you put it in the water and cook it with white wine. Of course, there is water, white wine. So it's nice to be generous with the wine. And then we have a whole mirepoix of things to give flavor. So we have carrots, we have fennel, we have onions, we have ginger inside, we have basil, thyme, orange zest, bay leaf, coriander, cracked pepper, anise star, all that here. We have orange slice in it. I mean, you can also do that with octopus, but you can put that preparation with lobster or something like this. It's like a court bouillon, great flavor of court bouillon. And lemon, all these are very Mediterranean. Yeah, and a little bit of white wine vinegar too.
Chef, I've heard that some people cook octopus with a cork in the liquid. Is that something you've ever heard of or ever done?
You can do that. I mean, my octopus tastes very good without the cork, but you're welcome to do that. So here, now, we have the same family, but now freshly cooked. Beautiful, actually. It's so
yummy.
You remove the tentacle, and you basically end up with this, and that's the cuisson à l'angnic. We cooked this one for about 2.5 hours, very gently, very smoothly. You have time to put a movie on and come back. So what's very important is that you want to feel that, the octopus is already pre-flavored and well rested and cooked, tender as well. So from that now, what we do is we grill the octopus. It has been cold, so you can cook that a day ahead, 2 days ahead, keep it wrapped, keep it cold, and thank you. And you you can even if you have a sous vide machine, you can sous vide the octopus. What we do is once it's cooked, we put olive oil, a little bit of fresh thyme, and all that, and we let it marinate a little bit inside that. So now I have milk, and this is almond milk or regular milk if you don't have almond milk, but it tastes even better with almond milk, and half and half, also milk and almond milk. And slivers of almond. So you put that, and you cook, and you let simmer that for a good hour, 2 hours. I mean, very gently. You let the milk tenderize the almonds and get softer and softer. And you can also, if you live in a place where they have fresh almonds, then that's very good to start with that, and then after to add fresh almond to it. And then we blend the almonds together with a little bit of orange juice as well. You can put a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of garlic. So the garlic get a little cooked before. So this way is not too strong also. And we blend that together. And a pinch of, where is the vinegar? Yeah, do you still have the vinegar? Yeah. The sherry wine vinegar as well. And do you have a plate? We're gonna, yeah, this one, okay. So the almonds become a nice sort of puree, the texture almost of crème fraîche like. So you put that in, and it's quite healthy as well. It's fairly simple to make. So you can grill it, you can cook it on the pan, just roast it nicely on a pan, like that. Then it gets sliced. I mean, in the restaurant, we usually try to serve it in a way that you can see still the shape of the octopus. And then we serve also some orange with it. So some little fillet of orange. So the orange play a good role in the juice, in the preparation, in the vinaigrette, and also in the serving like that. So this is a recipe we have done. This is a little more simplified. We have toasted almond in it, the arugula salad, olive oil, do you see anything? Yeah. From the mirror. And we have a little bit of Aleppo pepper. So Aleppo is one of those pepper from Turkey.
Syria?
Syria. And what else I'm missing here? That's it. Yeah, that's it. Voila. Like that. So once you have found the octopus, the rabbit, I think life will be very easy. You'll see.
Whole Foods should have all this.
Totally.
So to accompany the octopus, as I mentioned, the food in the South is much fresher in style. So what you notice is the white wines are almost never oaked, right? But it's super hot. Again, if you've been to the Mediterranean, especially in the summertime when grapes are just starting to ripen, it's super hot. Right? So the grapes get super ripe, really, really opulent, but they don't necessarily like oak in the South. The reason is because they're essentially like we are in Aspen. We're like hobby drinkers, right? We don't want to think that much. We sit out on the patio, bring us a ton of food, a lot of bottles, and we just drink. And that's sort of like the Provençal mentality just in general. Productivity after Châteauneuf-du-Pape goes down dramatically, right? So this is from a village called Cassis. So Cassis is a village. They've been growing grapes in Cassis since the 9th century, right? So it's not a new thing for them, viticulture. But to this day, there's only 4 people who produce Cassis, right? And the reason is there hasn't really been a real demand for it because all of us really want to drink Chardonnay, right? And there's no Chardonnay in this bottle, right? So the grapes here are mainly Marsanne, Roussanne, this sort of mix of grapes that you find only in the south of France. But I think the wine is absolutely pleasant. If you taste this wine with the almond and the orange, Cassis is actually one of the most perfect pairs for it. And no one in this room probably knew Cassis existed, unless you've taken that exit route out of Marseille to go to Bandol. This is, I have this thing against Marseille. Cassis is a village that you'll see on the way to Bandol, and it's this crazy sort of cliffside vineyards where people almost have to rappel down to harvest these grapes. For a bottle of wine, full disclosure, it probably costs us around $25, right? So is that really worth it? Is that a business you would invest in, right? Probably not. So this family is actually a Greek family who's been in France for 5 generations, and they actually came here in this region of France just to grow grapes, right? Right? So you left Greece to go to France to rappel off. Okay, so hence the Greek economy. So Cassis, Clos Saint Magdalene is the producer. Cassis is the wine. Again, opulent, super nutty, almost marzipan-y on the palate. You actually do get a lot of sort of citrusy and sweet citrus notes, sort of like Meyer lemon and orange zest.
Carlton, we actually have a question coming in from our Facebook Live audience. This is related to the rosé and to the white wine. And you said that the American consumer started drinking rosé like it's water. We have Food and Wine actually call it summer water.
Summer water.
We're right there with you. But we have a question coming in regarding the rosé.
Yeah.
If we can't find that or don't want to pair it with rosé, can we pair the rabbit with something like an Italian Pinot Grigio instead?
Yeah, you know what? Pinot Grigio, I have nothing against Pinot Grigio except for the fact that it's the only thing that people drink, and you really don't do justice to all the winemakers, right? Drink any sort of fresh northern Italian wine, Malvasia, Ribolla, you can drink Favorita from Liguria. A lot of these Italian white wines taste very, very similar. Just try something different. That's all I ask. I don't even care what it is. Pinot Grigio is fine. I actually drink it sometimes too. Just try something different. There's so many wines made around the world. Just drink something different. That's all I ask. Yeah.
I mean, even when it's bad, it's
Sure,
good,
just
right?
try
So-
a fresh Gruner Veltliner from Austria would be perfect for this. There's so many options. Albarino from Spain. There's a lot of options that we play with. Just try something different than Pinot Grigio.
Excellent.
Wine is like chef, you know. You got to trust the winemaker to have good wine. And I think Carlton made a wonderful selection. Of course, we're in Provence. I am French. Nobody's perfect. But so we stay in Provence. But if you look at your booklet, which you have all the recipe. First, I wanted to also mention with the octopus, I'm sorry, I was looking for my vinaigrette for a second. But we make a shallot vinaigrette. We make a confit shallot. So when you read the recipe, you'll see there's a shallot vinaigrette to toss the octopus in and to serve a little bit with it as well. So that shallot vinaigrette give a nice, it has a little bit of orange zest inside also. And so as long as you follow the recipe, you'll just be fine. And you can use that preparation for grilled fish. You can use that preparation for grilled shrimps, for any seafood. I think it worked very well as well. And if you don't want to do little fillet of orange, you just peel the orange, cut it in slices, put it together, make it more homey, family, simple, put the family at work. So in the booklet, you have the collection of restaurants I have. So I have some in different places. And Nick, for example, is in New York at DBGB Kitchen and Bar. But in the middle, there is Boulud. And Boulud is the restaurant. I worked in the south of France. I work in Mougins, just next to Lyon, which I'm going there next week. There's a food and wine festival there, Mougins, and I'm honored there, so that'd be nice to go back. I worked there for 2 years for Roger Verger at the Moulin de Mougins in some time in the 70s. I opened a restaurant in New York, and I wanted a restaurant where I had family in Greece, I have family in Greece, we have family in Spain, I have so many friends in Italy, vacation times, Turkey, North Africa, Morocco, and all that. So and Greece. So I wanted to really reflect the Mediterranean in that restaurant, and that's a little bit of a sort of a home simplified version with the porchetta, with the octopus, and with the next course you're having also, it's a little bit more toward Turkey, with the eggplant. And we're going to serve you an eggplant which has been confit in a vinegar and honey. And we have the sherry vinegar and honey. And the eggplant is roasted in olive oil. So you take this kind of eggplant, or sometimes they come even in a lighter purple color. You can peel them one every 2 peels. It's okay. Eggplant peel is always good. But by peeling it a little bit, it kind of open up a little bit the cooking, facilitate a little bit the cooking. And so with the eggplant, you cut them in segment about 2-inch. And you roast them with olive oil, seasoning, also a little bit of cumin, a little salt, pepper, a little bit of, if you have Aleppo, if you have other sort of pepper, if you like to have cayenne pepper, just a little heat to it. And then roasted in olive oil, then put into a mix of vinegar, sherry vinegar and honey, and braise it in the oven for, depends, let's say at 300 degrees, if you have half an hour about, you want the eggplant to get a little softer, a little tender, and cooked, fully cooked as well, because the roasting don't really cook the eggplant. And then with that, we serve a yogurt. And we have a yogurt where it has also sumac. So you can have either, you can drain the yogurt, or just don't, if you feel the yogurt is a little too liquid, you just drain it a little bit and use that as a sauce. And so you mix the yogurt with cumin, sumac, and any other mint, fresh mint, lemon zest inside. And it becomes this wonderful sauce. I think you have the recipe here. Yeah, we gave you that.
Hopefully.
Voila. The recipe are lengthy, but that's okay. You can, that's my assistant. She wants to make sure you don't get lost. And voila, so to make sure I'm not forgetting anything, yes, the lemon juice and the mint leaf. and garlic as well. There's a little bit of garlic to that. And so it's, and then we have what we call a soca, which is the
Chickpea.
en anglais, no, but the tuile, the lavash, the lavash. We put lavash or we put soca. Sometimes the soca with the chickpea, or we put lavash bread, seasoned as well with the sumac and the cumin and olive oil. And so this eggplant is kind of refreshing. It can be served cold, it can be served warm, but I think kind of lukewarm temperature, it's good also, like that. Voila, that's the third course for you. So I was a food and wine best new chef. The first year they did Aspen, I think. The first year they did the food and wine best chef. I think it was 88. And of course, Thomas Keller was here also as a best chef. And Hubert Keller from San Francisco. And Robert Del Grande from Texas, Houston. And from Dallas also. We had from Dallas, from the
mansion in Turtle Creek?
Yeah.
Dean Fearing.
Dean, that was Dean at the time. He was, Dean at the mansion. And from Topolobampo, we had also, we had quite many chefs from Chicago, from New York, and we all started, and the food and wine was basically the size of his stand, the whole thing. It was in one place only and very small. So it's always exciting to go back here.
Awesome.
And
The chef.
And Carlton, with the eggplant, one of my favorite wine also is Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
Yeah. So who's ever had Châteauneuf-du-Pape? That's it. So Châteauneuf-du-Pape is by far the most popular wine from the south of France in the US. Okay? And people love the story of the fact that you can blend up to 13 different varietals in to make this cuvee. But the reality is, typically they're almost always driven by Grenache. Okay? And that's something that people don't know. Okay? So these wines can range somewhere between 50 to 100% Grenache, depending on the producer. Syrah and Mourvèdre, the same Mourvèdre that we saw in the rosé, are typically blended in. One thing you'll notice about this wine is you smell and taste this wine, it smells and tastes like it comes from a very warm place. Right? Really ripe, really, really opulent, and this is what we call incredible date wine. Right? Châteauneuf-du-Pape's range between 14 to 18% alcohol, depending on who the producer is. So what I would do if I were you, one of those first awkward dates, it's tough, or, you know, whatever the situation is, order a bottle before you come, have it decanted, and then when you sit down, order another bottle, okay? But these wines are really beautiful with the wines of the Mediterranean because they have something called the garrigue. There's this beautiful sort of herb de Provence characteristic of rosemary, sage, lavender, all these sort of exotic herbs that we don't really see in the north of France, but we see them very, very prevalently used in the south of France. Just imagine a beautiful sort of spit roast of lamb, just brushed with rosemary and a little ratatouille, right? And there you go, that's Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Châteauneuf-du-Pape is not something that is terribly expensive. You can get Châteauneuf-du-Pape in a wine shop somewhere between $40, but they go obviously up to, if you're talking Chateau Reyes, up to thousands and thousands of dollars for the best wine, right? But really, really incredible wine. Oh, chef, may we?
Taste?
With this hospitality.
Yeah, voilà.
Oui.
A little bit for Nick.
Oui. La Rouge.
Yeah.
Nick.
Voilà.
To Le Sud.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Do we have questions?
So do you have any questions? Yeah.
Yeah.
Carlton and I? Yes?
Yeah, so the price points. Can I tell you the one thing I love about the south of France? The wines are not super expensive. You know, I absolutely adore Burgundy. I love great, beautiful Bordeaux, and the wines of the Northern Rhone are some of my favorite. But I work at the Little Nell. I don't own the Little Nell. So for me, you know, I love these wines. The Gros Noret, I'm going to tell you, retail is probably about, you know, $25. The Saint Magdalene is probably about, you know, $25, $30 roughly. Vieux Telegraphe is definitely the most expensive wine. This is a very historical estate in Châteauneuf-du-Pape. They make beautiful, sort of clean, elegant, very precise style of Châteauneuf-du-Pape. This is probably about $75. But they're all incredible wines. That's some of the more high-end wine in the south of France. But you can get a beautiful Bandol in a wine shop for $25, right? Compared to a great Burgundy where, you know, Bourgogne Rouge is starting at $50 retail, right? All right, Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
How many of you are driving Lexus? Ah, that's good. I think we need to improve. I'm driving 2 Lexus in New York. One for the city, one for the country.
I didn't get that contract.
Well, and actually they're amazing car, but I think the program with Lexus Culinary Master, it's always very entertaining and very fun. There's always things organized with the chefs, and I'm very happy to be part of this demonstration today.
The best panels are with the Lexus. We do a couple panels, just the normal food and wine panels. There's something fun and something so premium about what we do. You look at these wines that we're pouring here today. These are incredible wines. You can see I don't have a lot of wine left in my glasses. I got to work after this. So I'm trying to get this buzz going, hit the floor. But this is the best way to start your day. Very nice.
And I will recommend that you go and check your Lexus dealer nearby, just to do the ride. Now, another question. How many of you have been in my restaurant? Oh, that's a little bit more. So, for the one who have been, I hope you had a very good time, and you'll be back.
And while you're there,
Yeah.
Restaurant Degno actually has one of the greatest wine programs in the world. It's led by a gentleman who looks very similar to myself, but
Yeah.
much leaner and
The same.
a little bit very similar. His name is Raj. He's a phenomenal wine director. Their whole team there is incredible, and you can drink really phenomenal wines from the Mediterranean. Go there and look at the Châteauneuf-du-Pape list, and it's absolutely incredible.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, pardon. Sorry.
So the eggplant took in that sauce really well. What else did you? It's so interesting.
It's very simple. It's the sherry vinegar with the honey. How do you go? Yes. With that, yeah, you can serve it as a garnish also to a preparation. I mean, we usually serve that as a vegetarian dish with the tomato underneath. There's the tomato compote, the yogurt, and it's quite easy to make. You can also do it the day before and let them rest, and then you warm it up a little bit before serving, or serve them cold if you like them cold.
I would love this with roasted lamb. Roasted lamb and little dots of
Roasted lamb would be
eggplant.
perfect. Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah. Please.
Absolutely. Yes. Sorry?
The French honey, you prefer that?
Oh, no.
Of course.
I think as long as the bees are happy, it's. But you know, I'm a little chauvinistic with honey, but I like my French bees.
You had two.
Obviously anything goes with Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
Yeah.
But why did you pick to go with the eggplant?
Because of the sort
spiciness
of
and
the sweetness and the spiciness,
Yeah.
for sure. To me, I absolutely adore Châteauneuf-du-Pape, especially with little age with roasted duck. This canard au miel. If you go to Châteauneuf-du-Pape, in the town of Châteauneuf-du-Pape, every restaurant has this roasted duck with honey. That's absolutely incredible. They also serve it at 11 Madison Park. It might be a little bit more expensive there.
Yeah.
So it might be cheaper just to fly to Châteauneuf-du-Pape,
Yeah.
have
have
a
the roasted
roasted
duck there.
canard au miel, and then a bottle of Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
And it's true. And Châteauneuf-du-Pape for me, it's a wine we can take a little bit of power in the plate, always. And I would have loved to roast you a whole lamb here and
Next
give
time.
you a little sliver with it and the eggplant. That would have been wonderful. Yes. Any other question? So how many of you is going to cook rabbit at home? Oh, well, good. So in case, you can order it at D'Artagnan if you don't, they ship all over America. And D'Artagnan is a supplier of fine food. And for that, you can find that. The octopus, I don't know, maybe you have to call you.
It's difficult.
You have to Google for that one.
But the great thing about rabbit is, especially with the legs, you can treat them almost like chicken, like a braised chicken leg, almost like coq au vin with
yeah.
rabbit leg. You use the same application, and that makes it easier to process, I think. Please.
Sorry?
Can you use
No, don't use wild rabbit from Texas or things like that. No, it's not going to be the same. No. It's not a good idea. Neither squirrel. But there's places, I mean, they're eating a lot of stuff.
Yeah, the flavor's much stronger for wild hare. Yeah, the flavors
Yeah.
are much stronger. Yeah, and the meat's a
know.
little tougher. Farm raised, they're much
But-
nicer and fluffier.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
but I think it's one of the most delicate white meat. And like you say, in a stew, braise is fantastic. There's so many options to do things with it.
Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the Little Now.
Thank you. Cheers.